second episode of the Queen Latifah Equalizer series. So again, I'll start off with the good. So the good thing is the acting is great. The actors that they have playing in these roles, they do a fantastic job. Even if you may think the writing is not the best, they definitely do the best with what they're working with. Storylines so far have been pretty good. It's easy to watch, pretty much easy to follow. They do a good job of mixing the action with the drama parts. So they do a really good job with that. So in this episode, the main plot is the New York FBI is investigating a rich club owner and property owner who they believe to have connections with the Russian mob. And um, um, the Russian mob gets wind of the New York FBI having an investigation of them, and they contrive this plan to break into the lead investigator's house because they believe he may have information regarding something that they want. And on the other hand, the lead investigator of the FBI has been leery of his own department, seeming that it may be a mole or a snitch operating for the Russian mafia. And so we go to Queen Latifah, and since last week, um, Queen Latifah is talking with her former colleague Bishop, and he indicates to her that, hey, the CIA is like, if you're not working for us, then this whole side project with you running around doing all this stuff is attracting unwanted attention. So the CIA actually wants her to shut down this whole Equalizer helping people thing. And she could, they may want her to possibly do it, but she would have to be working for them. And she's like, well, nah, I'm not working for them. And he's like, well, these are not the kind of people you want to mess with. And she's like, no, they don't want to mess with me, suggesting that she got something for the CIA if they come after her. So she goes to see her colleagues. And so what happened is that she has since, set up some kind of point of contact for people who need help. And so they tell her that they got this message. They play her the message, and it's from this lady who said that after she got home from work, she found her sister tied up, her son gone. Her sister explained that two white guys broke into the house, took her son, and stated that she won't have her son back unless she break into a safe that's inside the house of the man she worked with. So Queen Latifah meets her, and it turns out that the lady is like a housekeeper nanny for the lead investigator of the FBI case who's investigating the Russian mob. And they want her to break into a safe because they believe the safe in this house contains some information that they would like to see. So Queen Latifah decides to help her, and so um, because when the two men broke in and they didn't disguise themselves, she believes that even if she cooperates and give them the information that they want, they'll still end up killing them all anyway. So what she decides to do, she goes to the Adam Goldberg character and say, hey, we need to figure out what's in that safe. So they devise a plan to go to the FBI agent's house break into the safe themselves, so they can figure out what is this information that they're looking for. So they break into the safe. Um, they find out it is a file with a picture of a young lady. It has a name, but like most of the other information is sort of like marked out. They can't see it, so they research the young lady's name. They find out it's a fake name, but they also find out that she's the girlfriend of the man that the FBI is investigating. So they figure out, oh, okay, she must be working with the FBI as an informant. And then they figure out also, in order for the Russian mafia to know to know about this possible information, is that they got somebody on the inside, you know, inside giving information. They have a snitch on the inside of the FBI, and so they blow up a lot of pictures of the young lady. And in one particular picture, behind her, there's two men standing by a car. And so she said, "Oh, these look like the men that were described by the described as the two men who snatched the young man." And so they they get the license plate of the car, and then they come up with, "Hey, we can track this car by the satellite system." Now, why would two people in the mafia crime family drive around in a car that can be traced by a satellite? Yeah, hey, who knows? But anyway, they figure out that information, and so uh, they go to a scene with the two men in question that she's looking for, and they're in the process of like interrogating and torturing two people. They don't get the information they want, so they decide, hey, we're gonna burn them alive. So they dose gasoline on them, and before they can like burn them alive, they hear something in the distance, then they see something, and they start literally shooting in the dark in that direction. But while they're doing that, Queen Latifah's character gets the drop on them, and she's like, "Hey, tell me the whereabouts of the boy." They like, "Well, no," and they tend to think that they can test their gangster by trying to, even though she got the drop on them, trying to draw down on her. She ended up killing them both. Um, rescuing the two people. Um, they don't have any information on the kidnapped young man, but then they confirm to her that this whole thing is a prostitution sex trafficking ring of young ladies from Eastern Europe. And so she reports that to her colleagues. And this is a strange scene. She's like in the kitchen. She's in the kitchen, and for some reason, she gets two utensils and start banging them against this pot. And from that, she gets the idea that the young man might be be inside a ship or a boat. So she's like, "Hey, research if the guy owns any boats. He owns a boat." So her and Vanessa, the wife of Hank, the computer genius, um, they devise a plan to go to the boat. They pretend to be health inspectors, and they end up uh, disabling the man by hitting them in the neck with clipboards, taking their guns, and they don't find the young man there. They find a bunch of women and all that, and one of the guys they beat up, tell them, hey, they moved the boy last night or whatever. So they devised this other plan that they'll go to the FBI agent and tell him, hey, we got a way for you to capture this guy, but they wanted to use their informant to do so because it is the informant of the girlfriend, and they arrange a meetup with the Russian mafia and and themselves that they got the girl and they're gonna kill the girl if they don't if they don't give him back the boy. So they exchange the the boy for the file, and the guy they investigated opened up the file, so they switched it. They switched the picture instead of the picture being his girlfriend or his fake pretend girlfriend who's snitching on him. It's his number one guy, so we think his number one guy, his right hand man, is a snitch, and so the CI, the FBI is able to get that guy to roll over on his boss, and that's how they capture the guy. In this episode, they have several side plots. One side plot I previously mentioned is about the CIA wanting her to, hey, cut this stuff out unless you work for us. Then another side plot is the NYP investigator who's trying to figure out who she is. And then the fourth subplot is one with her daughter. Her daughter has an opportunity to perform in Times Square with a choir, and she don't want to tell her mother, but the auntie and she don't want to tell her mother because basically she feel her mother fakes out on her a lot of times. So because of that, she don't want any more disappointment, so she don't tell her mother. So the auntie is like, hey, give your mother a chance. She might make a way to go. So to make a long story short, she solves this crime. She gets the boy back to the family, and she's able to attend this performance by the daughter. Overall, it's a pretty interesting episode. Like in this episode, the action that they did do looked believable because it was totally believable how she got the drop on the two guys. That was because she came up from them behind, came up to him from behind. They were distracted, so that's totally feasible. And also, even when they were posing as the health inspectors, they sort of like caused a diversion in order for them to hit them with the clipboards and take them out. So that was totally believable in that sense. So they didn't really have any stunts in this episode that I couldn't buy. Most of the stuff they did, I can buy. And again, the whole thing about the two guys driving around in a car that can be tracked, that's forgivable because they got to figure out a mechanism for her to find them. So I'm not knocking them too hard for that. I do like the way that this episode was written so that all the main characters had their moments. The NYP officer had his moments. Bishop had his moments. Even the at the end, the auntie and the daughter had their moments. So they really didn't have any characters that didn't have anything to do with the story. So all the main characters had something to do with this story. So overall, it was a good episode. I actually liked this episode better than the pilot episode. The pilot episode, a lot of things just happened by chance and all that. It wasn't realistic how some things, how she was, they was able to get some things together. Everything was by chance. This one was more, okay, yeah, I can reasonably see how that can happen. So this episode I like, and this is going to be a show that I'm going to continue to watch and review because I think it's a pretty good show. I don't think it's as bad most critics was trying to make it out to be. I think most people don't like it, or the people who don't like it don't like the fact that the character is a black woman. That's really the main thing they don't like. Is that aspect. But once you get off that and look at the show for what it is, it's pretty entertaining. All right, guys. Till next time. Peace.